This video is brought to you in partnership with Yoco and Next Up. If you want to win a Yoco Neo card machine, keep watching, and at the end of this video, we will tell you how you can win. Yoco is an African technology company that builds tools and services to help small businesses get paid, run their business better, and grow. They believe that by opening up more possibilities for entrepreneurs to be successful, they can help create more jobs, enable people to thrive, and help drive our economy forward. Yoco's got a fascinating history. It was founded by 4 friends who all shared the same passion for smart technology and a desire to help small business. We recently paid a visit to Yoco's headquarters in Cape Town and met up with Chief Technology Officer Lungisa Matshoba, whose focus is on technology, product development and innovation at Yoco. I started off by chatting about Yoco's incredible journey to where they've got to and where they're going.
To be honest, to describe Yoco, one probably has to describe the South African economy and the setup a little bit.
Yeah.
I think what you sort of see in South Africa is a situation where, you know, every adult almost has a card in their pocket, and every small business doesn't.
Yes.
And Yoco is the company that exists to fill the gap between those two things, and then from there use other technologies and the access to small business to really empower those small businesses to grow through other products. So that's really Yoco in a simple nutshell. We exist to sort of solve the gap between what customers are carrying in their pocket and what business owners can accept.
And I guess when you started off, you had one idea of what Yoco was supposed to do, but essentially you guys are a technology company now because that's where you're evolving, right?
Correct. I mean, I think what starts off as just a payments company, over time we've started to become more of a platform.
Yeah.
Because of what we can do with the data and the access that we get through payments. As a good example of this, I think it was probably about 4 years ago now, we launched a capital offering to small businesses that allowed them to actually take out loans based on how much they transact over our product and actually pay those loans back by transacting. So this is once again just showing that sense of like from a payments company moving into a platform. Yoco started with the founders wanting to work together. And then through research, really spotting this as a real problem in the South African economy. And the numbers just told the whole story. And from a solution perspective, Katlego, my co-founder, actually saw the solution operating in the US with a company called Square. And we realized that what Square was solving in America was much more relevant here in South Africa. So a combination of people wanted to work together on the right problem, coming together to solve something that we think has had a decent amount of impact in South Africa, and we plan for it to have more over the next few years. Ours are quite sophisticated, but the one thing that we found in common is ultimately most financial institutions are serving the same profile of business customer.
Yes.
Ultimately, and I think this was where the nuance came in for us is, you know, it's easy to service a customer who's doing large amounts of transactions every month. It's easier for you to trust them. This is why you see things like, you know, 6 months of trading history, etc. required. But when you start trying to solve an SME, it's very different, and I think and that's the same reason why Jack Dorsey had an opportunity in the US, is that what it takes to service an SME is not something that's easy for a large corporate bank to do.
Yes.
And this has really been the opportunity that we've filled over the past few years, just taking a very SME specific approach to solutioning.
Tell us about your two new devices that you got over there.
Yeah, so you know this is the device we launched about 2 years ago. It's called the Yoco Go. And really this is designed as like a business owner's first device. So when you're just getting started, it connects to your phone and you're able to accept a payment. It's designed as a low-cost entry point into card acceptance. So this is really like your first device, really easy to get going, etc. Very similar in many ways to what Square was offering in the US.
Okay. You pay me, I just simply swipe your card, enter your PIN like a normal credit card terminal, and it works.
Correct.
Okay, and this is the baby version of that.
Correct.
Now I've seen that at more like you know, bricks and mortar stores. This is sticks up where I go and get my coffee. There's one of those.
Correct. So I mean, this is like very useful for brick and mortar, as well as for you know, brick and mortar, meaning that you have an actual sort of shop of some kind.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind, but ultimately something where you're selling from a physical location regularly. So you want something that doesn't connect with your phone, stands alone. It's also great if there are more of you than one person in the shop.
Yes.
Maybe you have a staff member who joins you every now and then, a family member, because that's what we're seeing as well. People have family members who sell with them. Now, if you do that, then connecting a device to a phone, that becomes a bit of an obstacle because multiple people come in. You want something you can just leave in the store. This device was really designed with the idea that you pick it up, you enter an amount, you make a payment. It's that simple. So this is probably the simplest card acceptance device in the market. Really, really simple, easy to use. And I think what we were going for really with this device was how do we remove all the friction that comes with the business business looking card. So what's been great for us with this device is people can order this device online, it gets delivered, and they turn it on, and it literally, it's set up for them. There's nothing that they have to do. They can accept their first payment immediately.
I love that about Yoco, is the simplicity that you guys have made it with the payments. I'm so glad you touched on the friction. All the tech people use the word the friction, take away the friction, but it is. You want something to be simple. As a small business owner, how long will it take to set up a device like this? So you can start accepting payments, because I see they sell these at the iStores.
Yes, correct.
So you can go and buy it in the iStore.
Exactly.
And how soon after you buy it and setting it up can you start transacting?
So you'd literally buy it, you'd go onto your phone or your computer, and you'd visit the Yoco website, you'd click on Get Started, and you'd run through an application process that typically, like you sign up in like 3-4 minutes, right? And in fact, what's important is that it's not an application process, it's a sign up. There's no gatekeeper telling you yes or no. You finish the process, you activate your device, then you start doing your transaction. So typically you can transact, if you have your device in your hand, within 5 minutes of having that device in your hand, you can take your first transaction.
That's simple.
What we're seeing now is people don't want to carry cash anymore. And one thing we've learned about payments is that as the business owner, what you use for payments is largely driven by consumer behavior. And what we're seeing is that the more consumers stop carrying cash and start carrying card, this is actually driving a growth in cashless businesses, because as cash becomes a lower portion of your sales, you start to ask yourself, is it even worth the effort? Because you've got to remember, when cash gets given to a business, it then has to be deposited, it has to be counted, you have to do recons against it.
Right.
If you get to a point where cash drops below 20% of what you're doing as a company, you start to go, maybe I just stop accepting cash. And maybe that 20%, most of them will just adopt card or something else. And this is what we're seeing. So when we first did a survey with 4,000 customers, I think it was lower than 10%, it was 4% were cashless.
Really?
Now we're seeing that same pool of customers, 40% are talking about going cashless or are cashless. And this is a complete change, and this has all happened during the time of COVID. When we were going into this business, people thought the SME wasn't a valuable market. They felt SMEs weren't resilient. It's actually quite the opposite. And just watching that narrative get dispelled and starting to see in the past few years how many products in South Africa are launching now that are specifically focused on SMEs has been really exciting. In fact, I was having a look recently at advertising by major corporates, banks, even like retailers, and the amount of it that's starting to target SMEs is amazing. This was a sector that nobody cared about in South Africa about 8 years ago, and it's just amazing to see the recontextualization of the market about the importance of the SME.
Because the SME is what's keeping this economy alive right now. I mean, if you think about the high unemployment that we've got and the small businesses that are, situated in areas that, those non-traditional businesses that have got not a formal business, that is really happening and just driving the economy. And we're a very entrepreneurial nation, aren't we?
Watching what happened in the space when entrepreneurs were given fewer options of how they're going to trade. In many respects, even for us as a business, right? So people couldn't accept on card machines anymore. So we launched an online payments product that we've seen amazing growth with. The same thing happened with small business owners. They realized, okay, I can't have people come to my store. Cool, I'm going to start delivering my product tomorrow. And there's just this resiliency, this innovation, driven largely by the fact that this is what you do. You're not going to wake up the next day and go look for a job somewhere else. This is your business. It has to survive. It has to thrive. And this was something that we saw in SMEs. And it was actually interesting for us to see it reflected back even in our own business when things were going wrong in terms of the usage of card machines. Quickly, everyone woke up and said, all right, we have to innovate. We have to change the way we do business very quickly to make sure we support all the use cases of our customers. So just seeing that just showed me how much resilience we have in the space in the country. It's something that evolves over time in every company. So I think in the early days, I used to write a lot of the software that is our products back then. So myself and the early software engineering team, we built a lot of the products, a lot of the platforms, a lot of everything else. I would probably say that today it's a lot more about technical strategy. So what is the technology that's going to take us into the future? But then even more importantly, a lot about people and technology strategy. So what kind of company do we have to be to build the products of tomorrow? And I think this becomes more important because at the end of the day, I can't outdevelop a team of 100 people, right?
Yeah.
Not a chance. And given that, the question becomes, who are the right people to have in our company take us into the future? What's the right culture for those people to have? And how do we build the right products together with our product team to take us forward? And I think that becomes a more important part of the job over time. So I guess in many respects, it moves from doing the work directly to actually making sure that the company has the right culture and people to allow the work to happen naturally. In some parts it's been tricky to get right. In other ways it's been exciting because it's actually completely flattened the structure of an office. So if you think about an office, like invariably people are on different floors, there are people in different rooms, etc. Even if you open plan, the distance between people is real. We have people in Joburg, people in Cape Town, we have people in other markets as well. Now suddenly in the digital world, I don't know where you are. I have no sense of where anybody is. I have no sense of distance. If I need to speak to someone, I reach out and they talk to me and we have a conversation. And it's been amazing. It's completely broken down any barriers within the company. The other great thing is conversations. So we use a lot of chat. So chat conversations are really useful for work because people can catch up on them later. So if somebody's out of the office, they can reread a stream of chats and they can go, oh wow, yes, this is what I missed out on. This is amazing, etc. So we've started to work in new and interesting ways, which in some ways are really creative and interesting and exciting for us. That said, we still like getting together. So it's just more structured. We organize when the right times are, when it makes sense, obviously following protocols, etc., to come together. So I think it's given us, in a way, it's given us some superpowers in my view, taking on this new world of work. But we'll have to see how it evolves. But so far, we're loving it. I mean,
that's awesome.
If I ask people to say, hey, who wants? We actually did a survey. Who wants to come back into the office? Nobody wants to come back to working in the office anymore. We see that world as it's at least for us, is a world of the past. But that doesn't mean people don't come to use the space. They don't come to town and sit in the coffee shops around here. But it's that flexibility where I don't have to sit at an office desk every day. I can work at home, I can work at a coffee shop, I can work at a friend's house, I can work anywhere in the world I want. One thing that we're looking at is how you reconfigure the space. Because as I said, there are times when it makes sense to get together. So we don't believe that every single bit of work ever can happen fully in the digital world. We believe that there's connections that you need to create in the physical world. In fact, staying connected is one of our values as a company. What you might see happening is the space might start to be oriented around staying connected versus simply doing the work. It's where we get together and be creative to create things that we may not have created individually or may not have done in a Zoom room or some kind of other digital platform for meeting.
Got it.
You know, and I think that's important. Like there's something about, I think it was like 8 months into COVID, I met a staff member who had joined during COVID. And he was so much taller than I expected him to be. and it was just like that realization was just like so interesting because this is the things you get in the real world. And we need to do that every now and then where it's a bit of a laugh. You get, suddenly we're connected on something. It's an odd thing, connecting about height, but still, you have this connection now with each other that's so important for you to do work together.
Okay. Lungisa Matshoba, thank you so much. Absolutely inspirational talking to you. Thank you for joining us on Next Up. And real pleasure chatting to you and just finding out more about Yoco and where the dream is going. Thank you for your time. Wishing you and your other 3 partners all the success in the future. We look forward to more mini ventures, mini technologies being born out of Yoco, which you can see is on the trajectory. You're not telling me everything, but I can see the light in your eyes, Lungisa. Thank you for joining us.
Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
If you want to win a Yoco Neo, comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. To win one of 3 Yoco Neo card machines, tell us in the comments below how the Yoco Neo will help you do business better.